Have you ever felt like you're spending hours studying, but when it's time to recall what you've learned, your brain goes blank? We've all been there. Long hours of study sessions that just don't seem to stick. What if I told you that there's a way to study so efficiently, it almost feels like magic? Well, today, I'm going to break down 3 methods that can transform the way you study so you can absorb more in less time. But first, let's address the elephant in the room. How can anyone study fast without cutting corners? The trick isn't in how long you study, but how you study. Think of it like this. If you're trying to fill a bucket with water, would you leave the hose running all day at a trickle, or would you turn it up to full blast for a few minutes and fill it right away? The same principle applies to studying. It's about intensity and focus, not just time spent. The first method to boost your study speed is something I like to call laser focus mode. Most of us, when we sit down to study, think we're focused. But are we really? How many times do you check your phone, flip through pages aimlessly, or get distracted by the smallest things? This is where laser focus mode comes in. It's not enough to just start studying. You need to prepare your mind to lock in completely. Before you even crack open your book, make sure you eliminate anything that could pull your attention away. That means your phone goes on airplane mode, unnecessary tabs on your laptop get closed, and distractions, like that snack you're craving, are handled before you get started. Set a clear intention. What exactly do you want to learn during this session? By narrowing your focus, you're telling your brain to ignore everything else. You'll notice that once you have that focus locked in, your study speed skyrockets because you're not wasting energy constantly switching between tasks or fighting off distractions. Now, this isn't just a matter of sitting down and hoping for the best. You want to be fully aware of your environment. If you're trying to study with noise in the background, or you're scrolling between notes and social media, that's like trying to drive a car while texting. Not very efficient, and probably a disaster waiting to happen. So before you start, go into laser focus mode and block out everything that doesn't matter at the moment. Trust me, you'll get more done in an hour this way than in 3 hours of distracted study. So now that you're in laser focus mode, let's talk about the next method to studying faster: active recall. If you're used to just reading through your notes and hoping they'll stick, it's time to rethink your approach. Think of your brain like a muscle. You don't get stronger by just watching someone else lift weights. You've got to put in the effort yourself. Active recall works the same way. Instead of passively absorbing information, you actively engage with it. Here's the simple secret. You quiz yourself. After reading a section, don't just nod along like, "Yeah, I got this." Pause, close the book, and ask yourself, okay, what did I just learn? The goal is to pull that information out of your brain without peeking. If you can do that, it means the knowledge is sticking. If you can't, well, now you know where to focus your efforts. It's like testing your brain's strength after each mental workout. But here's the magic behind it. When you challenge your brain to remember something, you're not just storing information, you're creating stronger mental pathways. The harder your brain works to recall something, the better you'll remember it in the future. So yes, it feels harder in the moment, but that's a good thing. It means your brain is truly processing the information and not just letting it slip away. For example, instead of just reading through a chapter on, say, World War II, stop and ask yourself, what were the main causes of the war? Or how did the Treaty of Versailles contribute to it? By pulling that info from memory, rather than looking it up again, you're solidifying it in your brain. You can even turn this into a game. Write down questions as you study and quiz yourself after every section. See how much you can recall and reward yourself when you nail it. Active recall is like doing mental push-ups. The more you practice, the stronger your brain gets and the faster you'll learn. And don't be afraid to get creative with it. Turn your notes into flashcards, or even try teaching what you've learned to someone else. If you can explain it clearly, that's when you know it's locked in for good. All right, you've got your laser focus mode and active recall down. So what's next? Let's bring it all together with the third method, which might just surprise you. The third method that can supercharge your study sessions is timing. But not just any timing, I'm talking about the Pomodoro technique. If you've never heard of it, this method is like a turbo boost for your brain. Here's how it works. You set a timer for 25 minutes, and during that time, you study like nothing else in the world exists. No distractions, no checking your phone, no scrolling on social media, just 100% focus. After the timer goes off, you take a 5-minute break. Then you repeat this cycle 3 more times. And after the 4th round, you give yourself a longer break, around 15 to 30 minutes. You might be thinking, only 25 minutes? How can I get anything done in such a short time? But here's the beauty of it. By working in these short, intense bursts, you'll find that you actually get more done. Your brain knows it only has to focus for a limited time, so it doesn't get as easily fatigued or distracted. And the best part? When you take that short break after each session, it gives your mind a chance to rest and recharge, so when you come back, you're ready to go again. Now, this method also tricks your brain into staying motivated. You're no longer staring down the barrel of a 5-hour study session, which, let's be real, sounds like torture. Instead, you're just focusing on 25 minutes. It's like telling yourself, I can do this for 25 minutes, no problem. And before you know it, you've completed hours of studying without feeling overwhelmed. Here's the secret sauce. During those 5-minute breaks, do something completely unrelated to studying. Stretch, grab a snack, or step outside for a breath of fresh air. This helps reset your brain, so when you dive back into your next Pomodoro, you're recharged and ready to crush it. And if you're really struggling to get started, try this. Tell yourself you'll just do 1 Pomodoro, just 25 minutes. Most of the time, you'll find that once you get started, it's easy to keep going. The hardest part is always the beginning. But once you're in the flow, time flies, and you'll have knocked out a solid study session before you even realize it. And do you know which study technique I use for active studying? It's this one.